I'm joined by Portland Blazers assistant coach Bill Bayno, coached the UNLV Running Rebels from 95 to 2010. Also spent a few years as the head man at Loyola Marymount. Coach, you've been with the Blazers since 2005. Now that you see how well the Dallas Mavericks are doing, how they went through the Lakers and the Thunder, does it make you guys feel any better that you lost to them in 6?
It does me. I can't speak for Nate and the other guys, but I certainly, feel better just knowing that we played them tougher than anyone. So if you were judging it on that alone, maybe that's not fair, but if you were to judge it on that alone, we're the second best team in the West. I had no idea they would sweep the Lakers. I wasn't even, sure that they would beat the Lakers. At that point, I think everybody assumed the Lakers were still the Lakers, and but certainly as they went through it, you could see why they are who they are, and we did feel better. I think LaMarcus, to his credit, guarded Dirk better than anybody.
And obviously a lot of, had to get through a lot of distractions this year with injuries, and now another distraction in the front office. Is it a situation where you think at some point in time those distractions are going to affect what goes on the court, or is it really, what goes on upstairs doesn't have a whole lot to do with what you guys are doing down on the court?
Yeah, well, Rich Joe, that firing had absolutely nothing to do with the season. And so from that standpoint, there really were no distractions. Now, had that happened during the season, it might have been a little bit different story. But that really, because it happened a week ago or whenever it did, 4 or 5 days ago, it's really irrelevant.
You've been a head guy both at UNLV and at Loyola Marymount. Do you still have the hunger to be a head coach somewhere, or are you enjoying where you are?
I love the assistant coaching. It's no secret that I've struggled with the stress and the workload and my personality. In the past, I've worked myself to exhaustion. I'm not totally closing the door on it. I've found some outlets that I didn't have when I was younger. So I might do it again. I'm not going to say no, but if I never head coach again, I'll still be happy. I love being an assistant. I love working with the players. And I'm not in any, rush to do it. If it happens, but I can see myself being an assistant for the rest of my career.
Down here in Vegas, they just named a new head coach, Dave Rice. He was an assistant at BYU.
A very bright guy, extremely hard worker. I think he'll do a really good job there. I don't know. I think there's one area of improvement that he's going to have to really work on is his recruiting. I'm not, he's a tireless recruiter, but I don't know if he's ever had to recruit the players that he's going to need to recruit at UNLV that he did at BYU. BYU kind of recruits itself because of their religion. So that's going to be his biggest challenge, I think, is being able to beat, the UCLAs, the USCs, the Arizonas, and go out and get players that are good enough to win the Mountain West. But he's a really bright guy, and he's a tireless worker. And I think he'll do well there. I'm pulling for him.
Do you envision, that team ever being able to get out of the shadow of Tark's teams from the early 90s? Is it a town that will get behind the Rebels if they can put on a quality program?
What the old Rebels did will never ever be duplicated again. I think most of the fan base realizes that now. When I was there, they still expected, they still expected that possibility of dominance, and the school, the league, it's just different now. And they're, not saying they can't. They'll get back. They have a shot to get back to the Final Four, but to try to compare it to those years, that's never going to happen. That may never ever happen again anywhere. Especially in this day and age. They just had a special situation there with Tim Gergerich, Mark Workentine, and Tark. Players were dying to go to school there. The Rebels were a national program. And I think the rules are different now, and you got a lot of one and done and you got the AAU landscape is a little bit different. So, but I think they could be a national program and get to the tournament every year. But I don't think they'll ever be what they were. To bring that up, to try to expect that of them, put it that way.
Absolutely. So, I mean, essentially winning the Mountain West and maybe winning a couple games in the tournament would be a good season for them. I mean, that's a good season for any Pac-10 team, maybe aside from UCLA.
Absolutely. And I think now the fans there accept that. When I was there, we won the Mountain West Conference regular season twice. We won the tournament twice. We got to the NCAAs twice, but we lost in the first round, and that wasn't good enough. And really, it wasn't good enough what Lon had done. Lon had, I think, gotten to the Sweet 16 once, lost in the first round this year. And, they weren't, the fans weren't really happy, but I think now it's a little bit different. And I think they're a little bit more realistic in terms of what they should expect.
Well, it's really the only show in town, and those were obviously magical years. That's assistant coach for the Blazers, Coach Bill Bayno, also coached UNLV from 1995 to 2002. Coach, I really appreciate you taking the time.
Anytime. Good to talk to you.